Hey everybody, it's Matt here, and today I'm doing another episode of First Impressions. And today I'm taking a look at the demo for Pokémon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX on the Nintendo Switch. Very long name. If you're not too familiar with the franchise itself, Pokemon's in the name, so you kind of get where it initially came from, but it is a spin-off of the Pokemon franchise that initially came out on the Game Boy Advance and the DS as Red Rescue Team and Blue Rescue Team, and obviously this is a remake of some kind, hence the DX, but actually I had to do the cross-shop, the DX, but things are a little bit different, of course, in how they look. I don't know if I want to call it necessarily HDified, but it definitely looks like kind of a Yoshi's Island type style. I really do enjoy it personally. When they're running, it's a little odd. If you can see that right now, it looks hilarious. But when they're walking, I like it. And just looking at the different Pokemon and how they blend into the environment, I really do enjoy it. Now, if you're not familiar with the plot, don't worry, the demo itself will at least give you a good idea of where the plot's going. And also, speaking of the demo, in terms of like runtime and things like that, it actually, speaking of where it's going, it literally gives you upwards of 2 hours of playtime, which is insane. Yes, it's cutscene heavy, but I think that's very interesting. I thought that the second I saved my first Pokemon, which was a Caterpie, and I got out of that dungeon, they were just gonna let me go. But no, I actually went to sleep. They gave me cutscenes about who this character potentially really is and backstory and whatnot, and then we just moved on and kept going. I was shocked at the amount of days that I slept in game. I was kind of jealous a little bit. I was like, sleep, that's a nice thing. I would enjoy that. And so, and by the way, you can see the Pokemon, you can see Charmander and Totodile. So they give you a quiz at the beginning of the game, and I believe that, well, I don't know if the quiz was as expansive. I haven't played, sadly, Red or Blue. I have Blue because my cousin gave it to me, Blue Rescue Team. Red Rescue Team contributed to the channel. Tristan Walter actually has that, so might try to borrow it from him in the near future, but what matters is that they give you a quiz beginning of the game, and they ask you certain things about yourself, very Kingdom Hearts-esque. And depending on that, they'll say, hey, are you this Pokemon? And you can say yes or no, but the second they gave me Charmander, I was like, yes, it's me. And then when it came to your partner, which in this case is Totodile, again, questions as well, and then they were like, oh, you know, you could pick from these. And so I picked Totodile because I thought, yeah, that's my guy right there. And so from the looks of it, you just formed a rescue team. Other Pokemon can form rescue teams too. And what's interesting about how expansive this demo is, I thought it was going to be like a 45-minute, hour-long experience at best. You could actually take missions near the local post office. Can't go into it. I assume that has something to do with the main game in some way or another. But you can go take on some missions before you get to some more plot-heavy stuff, and then they cut off the game. But even when they cut off the game, they say, hey, you can still kind of walk around, go through town, see what's up. And there's a lot to see in town, and it's very interesting. Heck, you can even train at the Makuhita gym, and I was like, wow, that's really funny and interesting. Again, other stuff that's, you know, locked, but you can save your games. You can actually play the demo, sit there and go, I think I underestimated rather how long this demo is, leave and come right back to it at another date. So that's actually really cool. And when it comes to gameplay, though, that's where things are a little iffy to me. And the reason, I don't know why I did that with my hands, but it's a little iffy to me. And the reason why is because at first anyway, it seems as if they choose, in the first dungeon, they choose your moves for you. And I understand you want to, you know, they want to teach you how to do certain things, and there's a lot of, you know, guides, a lot of tutorials and how-tos, and I'm okay with all those. But it seemed as if early on I had to choose to try to overwrite the computer picking what moves I'm going to use. And I wasn't really a fan of that. Now, looking at later on, either at Makuhita's gym or when I was doing some other missions, thankfully that seemed to go away. But I was under the impression with the first dungeon, I believe even one of the second dungeon that I was in, it just kind of felt rapid fire, like you actually have to fight against the computer, because if a Pokemon is seen immediately, the move is just going to happen whether or not you want it to. And I kind of feel like that made it even harder later on, because it's like, wow, I've relied on the computer too much because I'm trying to override this, and at a certain point I just kind of gave up. I was like, you know what, just let the computer do it for me. And I feel like I understand if they, you know, they looked at that first dungeon as like a kind of training level, if you will. But I feel like I don't know, I feel like I would have hoped that there was a separate training level, or if maybe a certain room that was locked in that way. and then it would be harder progressively as you go along. Perhaps in the game itself, it won't do that necessarily after that first dungeon, but it felt as if even a little bit after the dungeon, until I got to the Makuhita training gym, it was a bit too hand-holdy, and I have no problem with that. I have no problem hand-holding. I have no problem with trying to teach new players, young players who are trying to get into this how teach them the ropes and whatnot. But it was just a bit too much for me. So that's really my only complaint, but I would argue it's a rather big one. But the art style itself, I really do enjoy it. These Pokemon are cute as hell. Seriously, they're adorable. I want to befriend every single one of them. And I do definitely find their little society very interesting to kind of infiltrate. A Russian spy. And to infiltrate and become friends with them and kind of just see how they live. I mean, I know this isn't a new franchise. Hell, they made new additions to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon even on the 3DS. So it's not... I was under the impression that it was dead since the DS game. I think it was Guardians of Time or something along those lines. I'm sure someone will correct me down below. But I was pretty sure that once the Time one came out on the DS, they were done. But no, they released a few of them on the 3DS as well. If you guys have experience with them, comment down below. Would love to hear if you recommend them or not. But yeah, when looking at this game overall, this demo, it gave me a decent amount of time in this world. It was a free demo for a decent amount of time in this world. I liked what I saw storyline-wise. I think gameplay-wise, I would prefer that it gets harder, but honestly, with the Nintendo games, from what I've noticed recently, it starts off easy enough that I think if you just play an hour, maybe hour and a half, you go, psh, too easy. But really, when you get halfway through, when you get closer to the end game, you're gonna get hit with a difficulty that when looking at the earlier parts of the game, you're going to be thinking, wow, is this the same game? That's what I've noticed recently in certain Nintendo games. So, and I know this is through Pokemon Company and Game Freak, but actually I don't know if it's through Game Freak. I know it's through Pokemon Company. But either way though, it's fun. I would definitely recommend it. So I give it the yay, not the nay. And also, if for some reason you want to like change certain options, kind of tailor it really to your gaming needs and your personal needs, physical needs, what's really interesting is they give you a lot of options in the menu for a demo. I was thinking they wouldn't give you anything, but you can not only save, you can also choose a lot of different, switch things up in the options menu, as you can see right now. So I think it's a really good game for anyone to pick up. New, old, young, old, middle of the, I'm getting to the middle parts. Yeah, so like I said before, definitely the yay. If you've had experience with this demo, if you want to pick up the game or don't, comment down below. Tell me exactly what you think. So, everybody, we are done with this video. Before you click out, I want to say thank you all so much for watching as always. Please remember to like and subscribe if you liked the video. And if you didn't like the video, you can still like and subscribe. It's okay. I won't judge you. Alright, so take care. Tune in next time for another episode of First Impressions. See ya.